everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace today. It's going to be an entirely bead woven necklace. I'm going to combine tubular herringbone, which we've already done, and tubular netting, which we've already done. I'm just going to put them together to make a necklace. I've got some 8/0s here. These are Miyuki Opaque Periwinkle. I've got some 15/0s here. These are Miyuki Metallic Gunmetal. I wanted to use silver, but I didn't have a whole lot of silver, and I was afraid I'd run out, and I've got a whole tube of these. I've got some 4mm bicones here. These are like a gray color. I've got some findings here. I've got a lobster clasp and some jump rings and a couple of wire guards. I'm going to hang one of the bicones off of, I've got the extender chain here. I'm going to hang one of the bicones off of it as a dangle, so I've got a little ball head pin in there to do that with. I've got 2 bead caps and 2 10mm fire polish beads. I'm going to try to close off the end of it with a bead cap and a big bead like that. I've got 2 size 11 tulip beading needles here. I'll only be using one, but I always like to have an extra in case I lose one. I've got my 8-pound fire line and smoke. I've got my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers. These are Xuron. You don't have to have the tweezer pliers. I just like to use them. They help me get in tight places sometimes, and I usually use them when I make a wrap loop, which I'll be doing when I make the dangle for the extender chain. I've got both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers. These yellow ones I got from BB Craft many years ago, and these are called Glitter Line. I've got my round nose pliers and my crimping pliers. I'll just be using the round nose pliers. Well, both of these I'll just be using when I make the dangle. The round nose pliers I got from BB Craft many years ago, and the crimping pliers are Beadalon, and I just use these to, I use that little part at the end there to tuck in my wire that's left when I cut it off. I've got my cutters. These are Xuron, and I'll just use them when I'm going to be making the dangle. Most all these tools I'll just need when I'm making the dangle. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wire in when I cut it off. I'll try to put links for as much of this stuff as I can find in the description box below. So I think that's everything. So I'm going to get some of my beads poured out, and I'll be back. Hey everybody, I'm back. So this is my finished necklace, and I decided to insert this little clip in after the beginning clip where I told you all the supplies, because I changed up quite a few things before I got this done. I was designing this as I went, and I changed up a bunch of things. I've done plenty of herringbone necklaces, and I've done a lot of tubular netting necklaces, but I've never combined the two. So I changed up a lot of things as I went. I started out with silver findings, and I've changed them to gunmetal. I don't know what I was thinking. I've got all this gunmetal beads in here. I guess I intended to put silver in it, and I didn't have as many silver 15/0s. I thought I would run out, so I changed it to gunmetal. So I changed my findings to gunmetal. And I didn't do a dangle on the end because this gunmetal extender chain I have already has a little dangle. So I'm not going to need all those tools I just told you I was going to use. The only tools I'm going to be using are my chain nose pliers and my bent chain nose pliers to put my clasp on at the end. And of course my scissors to cut my fire line. And I said that I was going to do a bead cap and a big bead to end at the end here. But that didn't work out because the bead caps I had just weren't the right size, and I just ended up doing it with beads instead of that. And then after I started the herringbone, I told you that I was going to do 6 inches of herringbone and then 8 inches of netting and then 6 inches of herringbone. But I decided I didn't like the way that looked, so I changed it to 4 inches of herringbone and 12 inches of netting and 4 inches of herringbone. And I explain all that as I go, but I just wanted to put this in there so you'll know from the beginning that I change a lot of things before I get to the end of this. So now I'll get on with the video of showing how I made this. I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads poured out here. I forgot I've also got my scissors to cut my fire line with, and like I've said before, it's a good idea to have maybe a cheap little pair of scissors to cut your fire line because it will dull your scissors. And I'll link those other 2 videos where I did the tubular herringbone and the one where I did the tubular netting in the corner of this video and in the description box below in case you want to see it. I'm going to start out with the tubular herringbone like I did the other day. I'm going to pick up 4 of my 8/0s here. Drop them down to my stop bead. I'm going to sew up through the first 2. And I would just start out with a comfortable length of thread for this because you're definitely going to have to add thread. Now I'm just going to reinforce these. I'm going to go back down these two. And I'm going to go back up these first two. And then I'm going to come back down these two. And I'm going to pick up two more. Go down these two. This is just ladder stitch. Just like I started the other tubular herringbone bracelet that I did. Now I'm going to go up through these two. Back down these two. Back up these two. And pick up two more. I'm going to do this till I have 6 sets of 2. I've got 3 there. I'm going to have to do it till I have 6. I'll go on the bottom. I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to go back down these 2. Back up these 2. Back down these 2. Pick up 2 more. I'll go coming out the bottom of these 2. I'm going to go on the top. Go back up these 2 that I just put on. Back down these 2. Back up these 2. And I'm going to just do one more row, or one more set. I'm going to pick up 2 more. Coming out the top, I'm going to go on the bottom. Go back down these 2. Back up these 2. Back down these 2. Now I'm going to turn them into a tube by folding them together. I'm coming out the bottom of these 2 on the right here. I'm going to go in the bottom of these 2 on the left. And I'm going to go down, go back around all these 4 beads several times to get them sewed together really well. Oop, pulled it out of my hand. Now I'm going to come back up through here because I want to be on the side opposite my stop bead. So I'm going to come up through here. And now I'm going to start my herringbone. This is going to be just like we did the other day, except I'm going to change it just a little bit. I'm going to, like with whenever we do herringbone, we always pick up two beads at once. So I'm going to pick up 2 of my blue beads. I'm going to go down the next bead, the bead right next to the one I'm coming out of there. Pull my beads down. Make sure they sit up like that with where the holes are facing up. Now before I go back up into this next bead, like I did, I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and put it in there. Just going to decorate up the side a little bit. I just wanted to get that up in here because I'm going to be using these when I do my tubular netting. So now I'm going to pick up 2 more 8-0s. Coming out the top of this 8-0, I'm going to go down into this 8-0. Make sure my beads land with the holes facing up. Now before I go up into this 8-0 to do my next set of beads, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. And now I'm just going to go up in there. Just puts that little 15-0 in there, kind of decorates it up a little. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more of my 8-0s. I'm going to go down my next 8-0. I'm coming out the top of this 8-0. I'm going to go down the bottom of this, or the top of this 8-0. And this is where my step up is. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm going to go up both of these blue beads. That's my step up. Make sure it doesn't get wrapped around the bottom like mine just tried to do. So now I'm going to, if you have trouble remembering where your step up is, I like to lay my beads out in a little pile. I know I'm going to be adding 6 beads every time. So I'm going to lay 6 beads out there. I'm going to pick up two of my beads coming out the top of this 8-0. I'm going to go down the top of this 8-0, the next one in line there. Now before I go up into this next bead, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. Now I'm going to go up into the bottom of this next bead right next to it. See, that puts those little 11-0s in there, or 15-0s in there. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more 8-0s out of my pile. I'm going to go from the top of this 8-0 to the top of this 8-0 and go down. Make sure my beads land with their holes facing up. Sometimes you have to fiddle with them a little. Now before I go up into the bottom of this 8-0, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. And I'm going to go up into this 8-0. Now I've only got 2 beads left in my pile, so I know it's time to do my step up. So I'm going to pick up my 2 beads. I'm going to go from the top of this 8-0 into the top of this 8-0. Pull my thread through. Make sure to get my beads sitting like they're supposed to with their holes up. Now I got to do my step up, but I'm going to pick up a 15-0 first. Of course, you don't have to do these 15-0s if you don't want to. I'm just doing them to decorate up the sides, and like I said, I'm going to use them down in the netting part. So now I'm going to go up both. I'm going to go across here, and I'm going to go up both of these blue beads. That's my step up. Now I'm going to lay my 6 beads out here. I'm going to pick up 2, coming out the top of this blue bead. I'm going to go on the top of this blue bead right next to it. Make my beads lay with their holes facing up like they're supposed to. I'll pick up a 15-0. I'm going to go up this next blue bead here. Turn my work around. Pick up 2 more beads out of my pile. Go at the top of this 11-0 into the top of this 11-0. Make my beads sit the way they're supposed to. Pick up a 15-0. Go up the bead next to the one there that I'm coming out the bottom of this second bead. I'm going to go over here, go in the bottom of this bead. I've only got 2 beads left in my pile, so I know it's time to do my step up. So I'm going to pick up my 2 beads, go from the top hole of this bead to the top hole of this bead. Make my beads sit like they're supposed to. Pick up a 15-0. And now I'm going to go up the 2 beads here. That's my step up. And I forgot about my crochet hook, but I've got my crochet hook here. You don't have to do this. I just like to do this because it kind of helps hold it, and it definitely helps me hold it steadier when I'm trying to do this and show y'all what I'm doing. I think I've got the wrong crochet hook. It won't go up in here. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. So now I'm going to lay my beads out here again. I got 6 beads in my little pile here. I'll pick up 2 beads. Coming out of the top of this 8-0, I'm going to go into the top of this 8-0, hold on and pull my thread through. I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to go up the bottom of this 8-0. I'll pick up 2 more beads out of my pile. Coming out the top of this 8-0, I'm going to go in the top of this 8-0. Make sure you, if you're holding something in the middle, make sure your thread doesn't get caught around it. I'll pick up a 15-0. I'll go up into this one bead here. Thread's trying to get wrapped around itself. Wants to misbehave sometimes. Now I'm going to pick up my last 2 8-0s in my pile. But go from the top of this 8-0 into the top of this 8-0. Pull my thread through. Make sure my beads lay with their holes facing up. Now I'm doing my step up now, so I'm going to pick up my 15-0 and I'm going to go up these 2 beads here. And that's what I've got so far. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to try to make maybe about a 20-inch necklace. So, and then, well, it'll probably turn out to be about 21 inches or so because the clasp will add some. So I'm going to do about 6 inches of this. And then I'm going to change over into my tubular netting stitch and I'm going to do about 8 inches of that. And then I'm going to do 6 more inches of this on the other side of the necklace. So that'll be 20. So when I get 6 inches of this done, I'll be back. Okay, I've got 6 inches of my herringbone done here. And now I'm going to go into my tubular netting. This is really easy. I'm coming out the top. Let me zoom in a little here. Come on now. Okay, I'm coming out the top of this 8-0. Instead of picking up 2 like I usually do for my herringbone, I'm just going to pick up 1. And I'm going to go down the next 8-0, just like I've been doing. And that sets that little 8-0 on its side there. Now I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to go up into this 8-0, just like I've been doing. And now I'm going to pick up 1 8-0 and go down my next 8-0. And set him on his side there. Now I'm going to pick up another 15-0 and go up the next 8-0. Now I'm going to pick up just 1 8-0, go from the top of this 8-0 into the top of this 8-0. Put that one on its side. Now I'm going to pick up another 15-0. I'm going to go up this 8-0. This is normally where my step up would be. It's just that my bead is on its side there instead of with its hole facing up. So I'm going to go up this 8-0. And then I'm going to go into this 8-0. So I've got my 3 beads there on their side. Now I'm going to take my 4mm bicones and I'm going to put a 4mm bicone between each of these 8-0s. If I can get them to go on my needle, there we go. Now I'm back in the 8-0 I started in here. Now I'm going to go around and reinforce this. So I'm going to go around all the 8-0s and all the bicones again. You can go around them several times if you want to, whatever you want to do. Now, in the other video, when we just did the tubular herringbone, we started out with 3 big beads with their crossover bead in between, and this is what I've got here. In that video, I used 3 15s and an 11/0 for my crossover bead. Here, I'm using the 8/0 for my crossover bead, but it's the same thing. You got your 3 beads there with your crossover bead in between them. So now I'm gonna pick up 3 15/0s for my netting. This is gonna be my netting part. Pick up 3 15/0s. And 8/0 and 3 15/0s, and I'm going to go from this 8/0 and hop over this back cone and go into the 8/0 on the other side of it. Push my little netting up there. Now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pick up 3 15/0s and 8/0 and 3 15/0s. I'm going to go from this 8/0 that I'm coming out of, hop over that back cone and go into the next 8/0 on the other side of it. Push my little netting up there. You don't have to push them up there now. We can push them up there when we get done here. So I've got one more netting to do. So I'm going to pick up 3 15/0s and 8/0 and 3 15/0s, and I'm gonna go from this 8/0 into this 8/0, which is the 8/0 I started in on this round. Pull my thread through. So now I've got my little netting, my little peaks there of netting. Now I'm gonna step up, and all that is I'm gonna go up. My needle's coming out of this 8/0. I'm gonna go up the 3 15/0s. Get my needle under there. Go up the 3 15/0s. And I'm going to go out this 8/0. And that's my step up. So now I'm just going to put 3 of my bicones between my 8/0s here, just like I did last time. So I'm going to pick up a bicone, go from this 8/0 into this 8/0, pick up another bicone, go from this 8/0 into this 8/0, pick up another bicone, and go from this 8/0 into this 8/0, which is the 8/0 I started in on this round. Now I'm going to go around all the 8/0s and the bicones again to reinforce. I'm going to come out of an 8/0. Now I'm going to do my netting again. I'll pick up 3 15/0s and 8/0 and 3 15/0s. I'm going to go from this 8/0 that I'm coming out on the other side of the bicone into that 8/0. Pull my thread through. Pick up 3 15/0s and 8/0 and 3 15/0s. I'm going to go from the 8/0 I'm coming out of to the other side of that bicone, go in that 8/0. I'll do that one more time. I'll pick up 3 15/0s and 8/0 and 3 15/0s. I'm going to go from the bicone I'm coming out of to the bicone on the other side, or the 8/0 I'm coming out of to the 8/0 on the other side of the bicone. Now I've got my 3 little peaks there. So now I'm going to step up. I'm going to go up these 3 15-0s. And come out that 8-0. Now I'm going to put my bicones in between these 8-0s that are at the peak here. So I'm going to pick up a bicone. Go from this 8-0 into this 8-0 at the peak. I'll pick up a bicone. Go from this 8-0 to the peak of this 8-0. Pick up another bicone. Go from this 8-0 to the 8-0 I started in on this round. Now I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to go back through all the bicones and the 8-0s. And I'm going to come out my 8-0. Now I'm going to make my netting again. I'm going to do 3 15-0s, an 8-0, and 3 15-0s. I'm going to go from this bicone to the bicone on the other, from this 8-0 to the 8-0 on the other side of the bicone. Pick up 3 more 15-0s, an 8-0, and 3 more 15-0s. Go from this 8-0 to the 8-0 on the other side of the bicone. Pick up 3 15-0s, an 8-0, and 3 15-0s. Go from this 8-0 to the 8-0 on the other side of the bicone, which is the 8-0 I started in on this round. And now I'm going to step up. I'm going to go through my 3 15-0s and out that 8-0. And now I'm going to put a bicone between all my little 8-0s on top, at the top of the peaks here. I'm going to pick up a bicone, go from this 8-0 into this 8-0. Pick up another bicone. Go from this 8-0 into this 8-0. Pick up another bicone. Go from this 8-0 into this 8-0. And I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to go around all the bicones and all the 8-0s again. So that's what I got now. So I'm just going to keep doing this part until I get 8 inches. And then I'm going to come back and transition back into the herringbone for the other side of the necklace. I'll be back. Okay, this is what I've got so far, and I have completely changed up my design. I told you I was going to do 6 inches of herringbone and then 8 inches of netting and then 6 inches of herringbone on this side. But I decided I wanted less herringbone and more netting. So I've done 12 inches of netting. And I went back and took out 2 inches of the 6 inches of herringbone I already did. So I'm going to have 4 inches of herringbone, 12 inches of netting, and then 4 inches of herringbone on this side. And in case you're wondering, it took 204 4mm bicones for the 12 inches of netting. Of course, you don't have to use bicones. You can use any kind of 4mm you want. And you can do any kind of length of each one of them you want, of course. And I didn't come back, and I've added several added thread several times, but I didn't come back and show you because I showed how I add thread in those other two videos. And like I said, I'll link those in the corner of this video and in the description box below in case you need to go back and look at them. So now I'm going to transition back into herringbone. This is just real easy. So I'm going to take, I'm coming out of this 8/0 here where I added my 3 bicones. So I'm coming out of this 8/0. So I'm going to pick up 2 8/0s. And I'm coming out the left side of this 8/0. I'm just going to go on the right side. I'm just going to circle around it. And I'm going to make sure my beads land with the holes sitting face up like I want them to be in herringbone. Now these 2 beads on top of this 1 bead are pretty loose, so I'm going to go back through and reinforce them. So I'm going to go back up this bead. Just hold on to my beads. Come back down this bead. Then I'm going to go back through the bead I started in there. And then I'm going to go on through that bicone and the next 8/0. If I can get through them all at once. You don't have to get through them all at once. You can do it one at a time. Look at that. Now I'm just going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pick up 2 more 8/0s. Coming out the left side of that bead, I'm going to go on the right side and just circle around that bead. And now I'm going to reinforce this. I'm going to go up this 8/0. Come back down this 8/0. And then go through the 8/0 that I started in here. And then I'm going to go on through the bicone and through that next 8/0. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up 2 8/0s. I'm going to circle around this bead just like I did the others. Now I'm just going to reinforce this. So I'm going to go up this 8/0. Back down this 8/0. Back across into this 8/0. Now what I'm going to do is get up into these 8/0s and start my herringbone again. And I could come up this 8/0 and start my herringbone, but that's going to cause me to have to sew counterclockwise. And I want to sew clockwise because it's just more comfortable for me. So I'm going to sew down through my project here and just move my thread around until I'm coming out this 8/0, these 8/0s up here going in the direction I want to go in. So I'm going to go through those 3 15/0s and that 8/0 there. And I'm going to go up these 3 15/0s. No, I'm not. I need to go down through these 3 15/0s here. And through that 8/0. And then I'm going to come up these 3 15/0s. Then I'm going to come up these 3 15/0s. going to go across this 8/0 this way. And then I'm going to come up this 8/0. And I got a knot in my thread. That's a knot I'm not going to be able to get out. Hold on, and I'll get this out and I'll be back. Okay, I got my knot out of my thread and I'm ready to, I'm coming out my bead here the way I want to be so that I can sew in the direction I want to sew in. I thought about coming back and getting that knot out on camera, but I've done that before. I think I did it when I made that herringbone bracelet. It's nothing special. The only way I know to get a knot like that out is to just try to salvage as much thread as I can and cut it off and rethread my needle. So I got 2 of my 8/0s. I'm coming out the top of this 8/0. I'm going to go into the top of this 8/0. And now I'm going to go up this 8/0. I'm going to pick up 2 more 8/0s. Coming out of this top of this 8/0, I'm going to go into the top of this 8/0. Make sure my beads, the holes are sitting up. Now I'm going to go into this bead. I'm going to pick up 2 more 8/0s. Going from the top of this 8/0 into the top of this 8/0. Make my beads sit the way I want them to. And now this is my step up, so I'm just going to jump over here and go back up both these beads here. That's my step up. So now I'm back into my herringbone. Now I'm just going to pick up 2 8/0s. Coming out the top of this 8/0, I'm going to go into the top of the next 8/0. Pull my thread through and make my beads sit the way they're supposed to. I'm going to pick up a 15/0 and I'm going to go up into this 8/0. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more 8/0s, go from the top of this 8/0 into the top of the next 8/0. Pick up a 15/0, go up into this next 8/0 in line there from the bottom, pick up 2 more 8/0s, go from the top of this 8/0 to the top of the next 8/0, pull my thread through, arrange my beads. This is my step up, so I'm going to pick up a 15/0. I'm going to go up these 2 8/0s. I'm going to pick up 2 8/0s, go from the top of this 8/0 to the top of this 8/0, pull my thread through, arrange my beads, pick up a 15/0, go up this next 8/0 in line from the bottom, pick up 2 8/0s, go from the top of this 8/0 to the top of this 8/0, arrange my beads, pick up a 15/0, go up the bottom of this next 8/0 in line here, pick up 2 more 8/0s, go from the top of this 8/0 to the top of this 8/0, hold my beads and pull my thread through, make my beads sit with their holes sitting up. This is my step up, so I'm going to pick up a 15/0, and I'm going to go up these 2 8/0s. So now I'm back into my herringbone. So I'm going to do the same amount on this side that I've got on this side. I'm just going to count my rows and do the same amount, and then I'll come back and we'll finish off the end of it. Okay, this is what I've got now, and I've finished my herringbone here, and I sewed my ends, my little stacks together like I did in the bracelet. And now I'm going to try to end this off. It can be tricky ending these tubular stitches. That's why a lot of times I'll put leather through them or something. But, and I was going to try to end this with a bead cap and a big bead, but my bead cap just didn't look right on it. It's not the right size, and it's just not going to work. So I'm going to try to end it off with my beads here. And I've switched out my findings for gunmetal ones. I don't know why I had those silver ones out. I think it was because originally I intended to use 15-0, silver 15-0s, and then I was afraid I didn't have enough. So I switched to gunmetal. So I switched my findings to gunmetal too. So I'm going to pick up 3 of my 15-0s. I'm coming out one of my little stacks here. I'm picking up 3 of my 15-0s and an 8-0 and my wire guardian. And I'm going to go up through one channel of my wire guardian and come down through the other channel and down through my 8-0. I'm going to squish my little wire guardian in a little bit. Okay, so there. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. So I'm coming out of, started coming out of this 8-0, 3 15-0s, my 8-0, went around my wire guardian, came back through my 8-0. Now I'm going to go down these 2 right next to the one I'm started in here. Now I'm going to go up this next one in line here, the next 2. I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. I'm going to go back up my 8-0 under my wire guardian and back up the wire guardian, one channel of it. Now I'm going to go back down the other channel of the wire guardian and back through the 8-0. Hold my wire guardian so the thread lands in the channel. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. And I'm going to go down the next stack, the 2 beads at the top of the next stack. Then I'm going to go over here and go up the 2 beads in the next stack. Pick up 3 more of my 15-0s. Go back up my wire guardian. Back up my 8-0 and back up one channel of my wire guardian. I'm going to pull this tight so that my 15-0s don't get loose. Now I'm going to come back down the other channel of my wire guardian. Back through my 8-0. Hold my wire guardian and pinch it so the thread will come down in the channel there. And now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. And go down this one stack that I hadn't connected to yet, just down those 2. I'll pull it all tight there so that so my 15-0s don't get loose. So I've got 15-0s coming out of each of my little stacks. They fall in there, just pull them out. That's what I've got for my ending there. So now I'm going to sew my thread in, just like I did. Well, I hadn't done it in this project, but I'm going to go down through here and sew 3 half-hitch knots. I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go through a few beads. I'm going to grab a thread bridge here. Go through my loop, slowly pull my knot down, Go through a few more beads. Find my thread bridge under here. Go through my loop. Slowly pull my knot down. Go through a few more beads. Find my thread bridge. Go through my loop. Slowly bring my knot down. And now I'm going to go through a few more beads and cut off my thread. And now I'm going to do the other side just like this one. And then when I come back, we'll put the clasp on. Okay, now I'm done. I'm going to put my findings on it. I was going to make a dangle to go on the end of my extender chain with one of my bicones, but this extender chain comes with a little dangle on it, so I'm just going to go with that. So I'm just going to take my chain nose pliers and my bent chain nose pliers, and I've got a 6mm jump ring here. I'm going to open it up, put my necklace on, and put my lobster clasp on. And I've got an 8mm jump ring here. Open it up, thread the other side of my necklace on, and thread my extender chain on. There's what I got now. So let me get some of my stuff cleaned up and I'll be back. Okay, there it is, all done. It's not hard to do, switching from herringbone to tubular netting. I had never done it before. I made a lot of necklaces just herringbone, a lot of necklaces just tubular netting, but I'd never combined the two before. I've been wanting to do it for a long time because I thought it would be fairly simple, and it is. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.